Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. Today on the program Perspectives, we'll be looking at Nigeria today and, of course, looking at the political terrain, what is coming out, and, of course, predictions for 2023, how the game would be and how the course will be run. This morning on the program, I have with me in the studios a PDP stalwart, a public analyst too, looking at the affairs of his party, the PDP, and how it is poised, to take over as, the PDP would want it come 2023. Let's look at Nigeria today and, matters arising. Nigerians would say that 2015 were, like Nigerians were promised El Dorado, that all things would begin to work well. Security would be a thing of the past, and the economy would blossom so well that Nigerians would be happy about the economy. We'll talk about employment, that Nigerian youth will be employed. And of course, all the sectors, that make up, the enterprise, of Nigeria would be functioning well. But what is the situation today? Your guess would be as good as mine. But we'll talk about the, PDP. Here was a party that was sacked by the APC. And of course, for obvious reasons too, that it was not doing what it was supposed to do on the dividends of democracy for Nigerians. And so, the PDP, as it is the strongest opposition that we're seeing to the APC administration today. What is the PDP about to offer or going to offer Nigerians again for Nigerians to want the PDP back? These are questions begging for answers, and we'll sort that out with my guest this morning, who would, give a PDP perspectives and a general overview of what is coming out of the Nigerian state today. Once again, I'd like to welcome my guest this morning, Mallam Ishack Kauranmattah. Good morning and glad to have you with us.
Good morning.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Alabi.
Yeah, all right. Yes, Nigeria today. And for Nigerians, I don't know, but your perspectives to the situation in Nigeria today.
Well, my perspective is not different from that of all other Nigerians. Like you rightly pointed out, we have been promised El Dorado. Unfortunately, what we are getting is not exactly what we were promised in 2014-2015. Some people came on and told everyone that PDP was not doing what it was supposed to be doing and that they would do things better. And Nigerians trusted them and gave them a chance. And we have seen what they've been able to achieve in the last 8 years. So that's the perspective. Things have turned from bad to worse in terms of every sector you look at: security, education, transportation, even peaceful coexistence between Nigerians has nosedived in the last 8 years.
A PDP perspective.
It's a general perspective. We are feeling it, we are Nigerians, we are living it. So it's not about PDP perspective, it's the real perspective.
All right, again, because, you are the PDP and, of course, a stalwart with the PDP. But again, what is coming out of the PDP, your poise, to want to come back or take back the mantle of leadership. And, of course, one would, say that, the things that did not, that Nigerians didn't get right with the PDP, and of course the APC with the way it's running the affairs of the country, the PDP is saying that we can do it better this time. But we're beginning to see loopholes, and when I talk about loopholes, about the posture of the PDP to come back, it is worrisome, and it might affect your chances of coming back. Those things that would stress on the comeback of the PDP. How worried are you with those things?
Well, I think I will break this into two. There is what is happening at the national scene, and there is what is happening at the states, particularly Kaduna State, where I belong to. At the national level, I think it's a bit okay. The way things are going, the party leadership appears to be poised to allow a level playing ground for all contestants to go out there, seek the people's mandate, and once you have that, the PDP has this history of an ability to come together and work together for whoever emerges in a clean and free and fair environment. Unfortunately, that is not what we are witnessing in Kaduna State, and that's why I'm worried. We had all the chances of winning election in 2019. One of the major issues that caused us 2019 was the shenanigans of our so-called leaders in 2019. And looking at the situation today, we're about to repeat the same situation until God, or unless God helps us out. Look at the scenario. Whatever indices you look at, the PDP is poised to take over power from the APC in Kaduna State. Is it in terms of performance by the APC administration? What is there to show? What can you say in Kaduna when you have a situation where somebody is developing infrastructure in 3 or 4 local governments out of 23, having taken loan that will be paid by the entire 23 local governments in the state? And then, at what cost are you doing these jobs? Cost in terms of finances and cost in terms of the actual people who suffer. How many shops and businesses and capital has been destroyed? How many people have been rendered destitute who were able to take care of their families in the past? If you look at that situation, you will see that the PDP is poised to take over. Look at it from the relationship between the APC and its own politicians even. How well are they being treated? There's no internal democracy anywhere. Somebody simply sits down and say, okay, Mr. Alabi, you go for the governorship, Kauranmattah, you go for Senate, and that's all. And nobody can complain, nobody can say anything. So from all indices, if you look at the situation, you will see that the PDP is poised to take over power. But are we ready? That's the question. Looking at the PDP side, you will discover that we have this feeling that we have already won.
I'm not, about to do this, but again, for the situation here, let me just play the devil's advocate here, and by saying that, some of the things you're reeling out to say that, indices are showing that the PDP will take over may not just be as it is, because again, you're talking about infrastructural development that we see is happening. You're talking about Kaduna, which has a new face or a facelift to Kaduna. I was born here, I've lived here. We've never seen this kind of change that we're seeing here. Yes, again, before this administration came on board, it said that there will be pains for gains. And so we're seeing the pains for gains. We're seeing the gains for pains. And so if these are the areas you want to look at to say that you are just ready, surprisingly, might just be there for you too.
Mr. Alabi, government does not exist to build infrastructure alone. Government exists to provide an enabling environment for citizens, for indigents, for citizens of the society to develop. So you don't kill people's businesses, personal businesses, and then produce infrastructure and think you are working. Okay, the roads are there, beautiful roads and bridges. Who is going to climb them? You have ensured that people cannot even drive their cars. Even those who still have their cars cannot fly the roads now because Castelia is there to ask you for 1,001 things that cost so much money. Number plates that you get for 3, 4, 5,000 is now going for 20-something thousand in Kaduna State. Everything has multiplied under the APC. And if you are looking at the infrastructural development, yes, Kaduna is okay. He has tried in as far as building roads in Kaduna is concerned, but as I asked earlier, at what cost? You don't destroy people's means of earning a living in the name of upgrading markets. Government does not have the resources to build all the markets in Kaduna State at once. So what do? You plan, pull down one, rebuild it, let the marketers go in, go to the next, pull it down, rebuild it, let the people go in. But what are we seeing? You pull down all the markets at once. And then you do not even care about ensuring, putting down a situation that will warrant those who are losing their shops to the upgrading can recover the shops after. No. You simply hand over the markets to businessmen At the end of the day, so many people
Mallam Kauranmattah, again, I won't let you go far on this because again, I have been following the situation here. You're talking about marketplace. We do know that from the program of the state government on markets and how people can come back, get their markets, get loans to get their markets at affordable rates. We're having all of that. But again, this is the PDP perspective.
Well, the market in Kajuru has been concluded. I will leave you as a journalist to go and find out how many people have been given any loan by the government to recover their shops, how many people are in the shops in Kajuru right now. There's one in Zaria that has been concluded. Go there and find out how many people who were in the marketers at the market before the upgrading, how many of them are able to recover their shops now. That's for you as a journalist to go and find out. The truth is that this government has destroyed so many people. People who had capitals of 1, 2, 3 million naira, who were able to take care of their families, pay their children's school fees, and even employ 1, 2, 3 other people, are now rendered destitute. They are going around begging. And that is what will matter, not the fact that you have built roads or bridge or whatever. That's not what is going to matter at the end of the day. It is what the people feel.
One of the things that happened to PDP, why it lost, as some people would say, was that it was the party as itself was full of itself, and so told Nigerians that we could stay on board for 50, 60 years running, and so things were just taken at whatever level they wanted it that down. Now come back to Kaduna State, the same Kaduna State you're talking about. We're also getting it that in Kaduna State, with the PDP in Kaduna State, we're seeing that the young ones are struggling, to get, into the system. But the old ones, I would say, or the ones that have been there, would not want to give a chance. And so imposition is also happening with the PDP.
That's exactly the problem. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I'm worried. This idea or this feeling that we have already won the election, it doesn't work out that way. That was how we lost 2019. People are forgetting that people go into politics for interest. Everyone is in politics for interest. Everybody has an interest. Either you have an interest to contest elections, you are a candidate, or you support somebody, or you are part of the public who are expecting whoever emerges from the political process to come and do what is necessary to provide the enabling environment for him to develop. These are the three reasons. So the moment you stipple that, you create a problem. They talk about loyalty to party, loyalty to party. Sometimes you wonder, what do they mean about loyalty to the party? When you seek people's mandate and the people are willing to give you their mandate, but somebody somewhere sits there because he is powerful, because he is a leader, models of situation and ensure he imposes somebody who is unpopular, how do you maintain or sustain loyalty? You can't do it. We have situations in Kaduna State where the so-called leaders of the party connived with the APC and cost the PDP a particular seat simply because they didn't like the person who is flying the PDP ticket, even though he was popularly elected by the people. We had that situation in the House of Reps elections in the, what do you call it, this constituency, Kagorko, what's the other fairing local government, I've forgotten. W. Guraya was poised to win the list, but it was connivance from within the PDP that cost him the seat, simply because the powers that be didn't want him. So the more you try to ensure that there is no level playing ground, the more you make people become divided into two. There are those who will not do anti-party, but they will fold their arms. They won't do anything to help the party. And there are those who will even connive with the opposition to ensure that you lose, because you have refused to allow them to field the candidate that they are sure is going to represent their interests. That is what happens when you impose candidates. It is not the primary election that matter, it is the general elections. So you can impose your will on people in the primary elections, but you cannot impose your will on the larger society. It is the same thing we are seeing in the APC. I think it's something PDP should be happy that Mallam Nasiru Ahmed El-Rufai sat down and simply decided who is going to contest for what in the APC. So all you need to do now is open the PDP and allow people, elect people they want.
But the National Working Committee of the PDP is not helping on matters here, because again there's said to be a connivance with what is happening in the state and the national office.
Well, we had such connivance under the former leadership. We are hopeful that the current leadership will do things better. We are hoping and we are waiting to see. But certainly under the defunct leadership, we had this connivance, and that was why you had so much litigation in Kaduna State. All through the election of leaders, the local government congresses up to the national convention, you had litigations everywhere in Kaduna State. At every point, because there was that connivance with the national leadership to impose unpopular people on the party members. However, like I said, we are hopeful that the current leadership will realize what happened in the past and do the needful.
Much as you want to, take over as, one would want to see it, the PDP in the state is also in factions. And those factions could, again, undo the party, so to say, as come 2023.
Not really factions.
But there are aggrieved members here in the state, very aggrieved.
It is the aggrieved members that is the problem right now. As far as I'm concerned, allow the delegates the freedom to choose whoever they want. The delegates mingle with the people, and they listen to the people, and they know who the people prefer. If you allow them freely select the flag bearer of the party, all the aggrieved members of the party will unite and work for the party.
The delegates, yeah, it's another.
Once the delegates are allowed to choose a popular candidate, every other member of the party, aggrieved or not aggrieved, will come together and work for the success of the PDP. Nobody wants the APC.
Ensuring that, the money bags are there, the power brokers are also there. So the delegates on their own, they're making their choices too. Do we have a problem here?
That is why we are talking to the power brokers, because we have situations where someone is already sitting in his living room, inviting the delegates and reading the right acts on them, telling them this is the particular candidate you must vote for. He must stop that. He must desist from that. And the party leadership are already doing things to tilt the delegates one way or the other. If you have not forgotten, we had this problem in 2019. And that was why at the end of the primary elections, it became impossible to bring all the contestants together to join hands and work for the person who won the primaries at the time. Because of this underhand dealings that angered both the candidates and their supporters. And we are moving towards the same direction. So we are appealing to the powers that be. And we are appealing to all other stakeholders. One major problem we have is that all other stakeholders will just fold their arms. Privately, they will complain to you that this is what this man is doing. They are not happy. But instead of them coming together to talk to him, he approached some of them and told them the preferred candidate cannot lead PDP to success. He was part of those telling the problems that we will encounter if we fill them out. So how could you turn around now and be telling them that this is the candidate to go for? So I haven't told him to his face that, but you earlier told us this were his problems. So how can you now just simply tell us to come back and start supporting?
There were court cases with the PDP,
yes,
in the last elections, and some people say that those, have you resolved on such cases or court cases? And then, of course,
quite a number of them have not been resolved. And that is why we are saying, let's do away with the court cases. Let's get somebody without baggage, with the hindrance of court cases, with the hindrance of accusations and so on. We had so many accusations making the rounds. There was this allegation that when the logistics from the national headquarters of the party came for the elections, INEC postponed the elections for 1 week. The money had already landed in Kaduna, and they postponed. At the end of the week, where was the money? It was nowhere to be found. And the national headquarters had to send another logistic. So who took that money? Why did he take it? At the time, we didn't want anyone to talk about this because it was break our ranks. But now is the time to begin to say whoever was responsible for what happened there must not be allowed to repeat what he did in 2019 so that he cannot create the problems for us in 2023 that he created in 2019. That was one allegation. Several other allegations of certificates or whatever that have not been 4 years after. So why do you need to carry somebody with extra baggage?
Would you say that the problem of the PDP in Kaduna State would be on leadership? What I mean by leadership here would mean that those that have been there, from onset, would not want to give way for new entrants.
That is certainly the major problem. We have problem with the leadership. They are not sincere. They are not interested in actually opening up the party to let the people choose whoever they want to be, whatever he wants to be within the party. That's the major problem. As far as support base is, we have the support. As far as performance of the APC there is working in our favor. APC has not done anything, has virtually destroyed the state. Everybody is unhappy. And if you look at all other political parties, it is this NNPP that would have been a challenge to both the PDP and APC. Unfortunately, in Kaduna State, it cannot be a challenge because they too have one-track mind and they are moving towards a particular individual that everybody knows his antecedents. And so nobody is going to touch him with the one-man paw. So the PDP has the course is clear for the PDP. All we need is an honest and sincere leadership to allow people do the right thing.
Talking about even taking over, this were issues that you raised, second time around of this administration. That the indices were showing that the PDP could just come and take over the mantle of leadership. But again, it failed, and so now we are going towards 2023, and these indices you are raising may not just be it for the APC, that the APC would just have a clean road to run to run its course.
I don't think so, Mr. Alabi. In 2019, there were promises that the painful activities of the APC were necessary then, but that they have already done whatever they needed to do, and the painful aspect will now go, and that they are going to now look at the people and take care of the needs of the people and whatever. That was partly what helped the APC, and partly the crisis within the PDP. But when they took over, what happened? They continued with their demolitions, they continued with their destructions, they continued with their sacking, to the extent that the chief executive, the governor himself, will sit down in public, look at indigents of Kaduna State in the face, and tell them that there are people with primary school certificate teaching in secondary schools in Kaduna State.
There are facts then.
Where are the facts? We are still waiting for the facts. We are still waiting for the people. Such people should be taken to court. Up to now, nothing has happened. So you have, they are still sacking people simply. That's what they do, without reasons and not paying people their entitlements. When you sack somebody without any reason, you must pay that person his entitlement. Government have a right to decide we no longer need your service. That is part of the law.
Would you have considered the backlog of the last administration?
There wasn't any
because
backlog.
We do know that this government is doing all its pension payment and all of that is still going on, and is sorting it out. And
Let me
there's
tell
no
you
stop
something.
over it.
Part of the areas that the Latu administration paid attention to was payment of the backlog of pension and gratuity, and they did a lot in that aspect. Very few people. Go and find out 97 to 98% of the pension problems of Kaduna State under Mallam Ishack Kauranmattah were his own creation. Were people he sacked or those who retired within his 7 years in office. Very few were from what he inherited from the PDP. It was his own creation. You have forgotten the way they kept sacking everyone left, right, and center. Local government head of personnel, permanent secretaries,
all in a bid to restructure. That was.
So what has been restructured? The civil service has virtually been destroyed. Go to any ministry in Kaduna State, what you find are consultants, and the majority of such consultants are not even from Kaduna State, but they are the ones who hold all the files, all the secret files.
I'd like to ask you a question before I go on this break, and this is a question that could also go to the national space about the role of opposition. and we have an administration for now, and the role of opposition in a democracy, that all you see happening to, with the opposition is sacking and condemning, and all that this administration would do without giving it, a little bit of, say, kudos to what you're doing here. Why is this so?
You see, it depends on what the administration is actually doing. You cannot go to Borno State today and start condemning, because the Zulum is working. Whether you like him or not, he is working. Whether you belong to his party or not, he is working. The situation is so bad for opposition that nobody volunteered to buy governorship aspiration form in the PDP for a very long time. Finally, one person volunteered to do that. That is saying something about what Zulum is doing in Borno State. Unfortunately, the situation in Kaduna is that we have a few capitalist-minded people who are trying to show that this government has achieved a lot. They are looking at the roads, beautiful roads, yes, in Kaduna town, but we are looking at the cost. More than 3 to 4 million people who were earning a living in the markets have been rendered jobless today in Kaduna State. You had a shop, it has been destroyed. You now carry a wheelbarrow and you are pushing your goods around, you are being arrested, that you are littering the environment. So people cannot even eat. There are households where the man has a shop in the market and the wife is a teacher in the primary school and 2 of the children are Achaba. They sack the man from his place of work in the local government, sack the wife who is teaching in the primary school and seize the Achaba from the 2 children, destroying the entire family. How do you tell such family that government has constructed roads? Of what good, of what benefit is the road to such a family? This is what you find in Kaduna State. So the few individuals you hear shouting support for this government are either part of the government or they are capitalist minded. The reality is you build humans. If you encourage people, if you create the enabling environment for people to thrive, they will build roads for themselves. So you can't destroy people and build roads and expect the opposition to come and say, okay, he tried, and so he has not tried as far as we are concerned.
The program is Perspectives, and it's coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And we're looking at PDP as a party, focused and attention on the situation in Kaduna State. What is coming out, and is the PDP poised, to take over as it would say it would do come 2023. Sharing thoughts with me on matters and more of these is Mallam Ishack Kauranmattah, a PDP stalwart in the state and a public affairs commentator. We'll come back after this break.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Welcome back. Is the program Perspectives this morning, and we're looking at the PDP and its readiness to take over mantle of leadership, as it is telling Nigerians that it is really poised to do that. But again, we come back to Kaduna State, where sharing thoughts this morning with a PDP stalwart in the state, Mallam Ishack Kauranmattah. And of course, we're talking about developments and happenings in the state. Some people, party members as it is, and those that have the interest of the party in the state are really concerned about issues coming out from the party. And of course, readiness for 2023, how these issues, if they are not resolved, how it can affect the party. Mallam Ishack, recently, the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, was in the state. And this I'm talking about some of the things dropping from the grapevine about situations in the PDP in the state. And Nyesom Wike was said to have dropped about 200 million, to of course mention that for internally displaced persons and so. But again, we hear, from the grapevine that people complaining that such monies have not, not seen how it was shared or it had gone to the right channel and all of that. So these are complaints again coming from members of the party. And again, when members are talking about unhappiness in the party and how the party affairs is being run, how then are you ready for 2023?
Well, That issue of Wike's donation is actually a sore area that I may not want to delve into too much. A sitting state governor coming to a state to offer donation to IDPs. I don't know why he chose to give the PDP. Even though he is of the PDP, such donations actually should go to the state government. Having been given to the party, I feel those in charge should actually call all stakeholders, sit with them, and actually take a good look at that money and what it is to be used for. We know where the IDPs are in Kaduna State. Giwa, maybe Bilnungwari, Chukun, Zangon Katav, and one or two other local governments. Take a good look at the IDPs and see. Unfortunately, if you continue to keep quiet about that money, it will continue to generate accusations and allegations and so on. And that too will affect us. Now, besides the issue of the money, one of the major problems I have is particularly with Zone 3. Zone 3 is PDP. And Zone 3 has always been the decider in terms of the good fortunes of the PDP. Now, in the last elections in 2019, they were taken for a ride. We couldn't do anything in the north. They voted PDP, and at the end of the day, ended up without nothing. APC is unhappy with them, not doing any projects in Zone 3, and they are neither here nor there. The leaders of the zone must sit down and really talk to themselves this time around. Don't allow any individual to use you like he always do. This time around, take a decision. Look at the candidates. Choose the person who can win the election for PDP, and not just win the election, somebody who can retain the seat after winning. Because one of the major problems we are having is the possibility of PDP winning because of the large support base we have, and then APC taking over in the courts because of litigation, because of these accusations that have not been cleared. So you must sit together, because Zone 3 votes in block, so they can decide who emerges as the candidate of the PDP. The leaders of Zone 3 must sit together, talk to themselves, take a good look at these candidates, irrespective of where somebody is coming from, who is supporting him. Just weigh the candidates and see who has the capacity to win. That is one. Having one who has the capacity to retain the seat in terms of having clean qualifications, and who has the capacity to ensure that he does something. Because whether you like it or not, Nasiru El-Rufai is a very intelligent person. So if you bring somebody who is not intelligent, there is a tendency that you will not even be able to, in the 4-year stretch, find out the actual booby traps that Nasiru has implanted in Kaduna State. So you must look for somebody who has these qualities: a capacity, necessary qualification, and the clean environment around him that will ensure any attempt at litigation will be a waste of time.
But why has the leadership of the PDP not, waded into this matter?
Selfishness. Some people want to be deputy governor by hook or by crook, and they already have an agreement with somebody who will make them deputy governor. So they are doing whatever they can to scuttle the chances of other contestants, so that their man will emerge and pick them as deputy governor. Some other people feel that they are going to lose the position they have of leaders, and they would rather the PDP loses the election entirely than for them to lose that position they enjoy as the leaders. That's the situation.
Be part of this conversation on numbers 081 40,000 989, 081 40,000 989, or 070 87 800 989. 070-87-800-989, or on our Facebook page as we're rolling now in Victor 98.9. Taking your calls now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Toyin.
Good morning.
Good morning to the PDP stalwarts.
Yeah.
Good morning.
I'm impressed.
Your name, please. Your name, please.
My name is Adukaya from Kudenda.
Adukaya from Kudenda. All right.
Yes. I am impressed with what your guest said. Wike is not a PDP president. He's a president for all. That money he donated for the internally displaced person is for everybody, not for PDP. So the PDP, or do I say the party he donated the money for, should look into that money he donated critically and make sure that money go round.
Okay.
That money should be shared with equity, fairness, and justice. Because if we can eventually become the president of this country today, he is not the president for the PDP, but he's the president for the entire nation. So they should look into it.
Okay.
And he made mention of something again concerning the road to realization which everybody did. Everybody is very logical. So you take advantage of what you have to get what you want. And everybody has a good quality of a leader. All these gubernatorial, our president, the serving president, the serving governor that has fired, I've never seen where everybody has come out to say he's looking to fight for presidency or for any elected position. Everybody is just waiting for a soft landing appointment. And that is what a leader should aspire for.
Okay, Adukaya. All right.
That is my take. Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Still with your calls. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Alabi.
Good morning.
My name is Andy. I'm calling from Golungola.
Andy. All right, Andy. Yes.
Thank you for your speaking well. You see, for this country, if you see what they happen now, Alabi, what will tell ourselves to not to bother to. We can see many people now, is they jobless. Rapid jobless. From market to working place, from working place, from Kabu, Oluba. It cannot go anywhere. What they, if intermarket is destroy yourself from shop or the place will be managed for government, it start you from there. Or they carry your motor, enter you, Katula will block you. You know how many people in Katula take their lives for this country, for this Kaduna state? You know how many people Katula take their lives from Okada? You know how many people Katula take their lives through Keke Nape? So now we are more tell ourselves.
Okay.
This government will come to radical people for radical nonsense. How can go to remember them?
Okay. All right, Andy, we got you. All right, still with your calls, and then after this call, I'll come back to my guest. Hello, good morning.
Hello, very good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, I just Kure on the line.
All right, Kure.
Honestly, he has spoken very well. I want PDP to take advantage of what we are passing through now. That some people can no longer sleep in their house, and they became tenant now. Somebody managed to build his house. Now he can no longer sleep in his house. He became a tenant. Let them take that advantage and just flush these people out. Because me, I cannot imagine somebody that voted you in, you come, you become an emperor. When you are coming, he has to run away. Is that the leadership the APC promised us? It's never done elsewhere.
Okay.
I want them to take that advantage. Let them put their house in order. Anybody that says that PDP will not take over, except he has already said it, except that person is benefiting from them or he is a card-carrying member.
Okay, great.
For me, I don't know what I passed through.
Okay.
Up to now, I'm...
All right, great. We got you. All right, I'll just squeeze in this one call and then I'll come back to my guest. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Toyin.
Good morning.
Good morning to the guest in the studio. Francis calling.
All right, morning, Francis.
Honestly, your both have spoken well. And the only contribution I have in this is based on the development that is going on in Kaduna State. To be frank with you, Mr. Toyin, it's good to have a road infrastructure. But when there is road networks and people that are meant to use their road networks cannot afford 3 square meters. The ones that was according it before the road networks are now beggars. Of what need is that road network? Because as it is in Kaduna, we that are into business, to be frank with you, it's very, very hard for some people to survive, to eat daily bread. People that was helping people before this administration, giving arms to people they feel they are better than. Today, they cannot take care of themselves and their families, not to talk of giving arms to people. Of what use is the road networks? Look at this security is doing nothing in Kaduna State. What are we talking about? The road network is not in any way beneficial to the citizens. That is simple truth.
Okay, all right. Mallam Ishack, I come back to you. Well, you had
yes, I had them all. Do you realize in all our discussions we have completely neglected insecurity? Our people are so insecure. Now, Mr. Francis has beautifully captured the mood, the situation. You have built roads. What has happened to healthcare? Do you realize nothing has been done in terms of our healthcare in Kaduna State in the last 7 years? What about education?
No. Are you following on that? Because I'm following on that too. About government's intervention in the health sector.
Where?
In terms of drugs and all of that.
Have you gone to the hospitals and seen the drugs and get the people who are beneficiaries who are getting any drugs? People are not getting anything. You have numbers in the media and on paper. Yes. Huge amounts of money being spent. But the reality on the ground, please go to the hospitals and see. You don't see anything. Education, this man has virtually destroyed education in Kaduna.
How fair can that be, Mallam Ishack?
You sacked 22,000 primary school teachers
And replaced them.
and turn around and employ 15,000 of their own products. The people they taught in primary school who went and did NCE are now the qualified teachers. The teachers who taught them are not qualified. Can you buy this? You don't sack teachers. You don't do things anyhow. In the education sector, there are procedures. You train and retrain teachers. Once somebody has gone through the training, if he is not up to your standard, you train him. He will acquire the standard you want. But he simply sacked them. He could not get the 22,000 he sacked. Even when you had this 22,000, they were not adequate. Then you sack them and you are able to scrape 15,000. And out of those 15,000, you pick some people from Kaduna and send them to Giwa and other village local governments without accommodation. Mind you, he promised he was going to build accommodation for the teachers he was employing. He has not built any. So the young men he posted have all run away. That is the situation. We are not even talking about the increment in fees, which has ensured that more than 60% of Kaduna State indigenes in Kaduna State University have dropped out. Go and find out. Many of them have run away. Some people are in 300 levels and have gone to seek 100 level admissions in ABU and FCE like because they cannot afford the exorbitant fees. So this man has virtually destroyed education and destroyed the future of the youth. So agriculture. When you are sacking people left, right, and center, the only option they have is to go into agriculture. Now, insecurity has ensured that they cannot go into agriculture. You can't even go to the farms where you have the farms. So, what is it that this government has done that people are happy with? Nothing.
This is the PDP perspective there too. Again, okay, but you're saying that. Jeffrey, is there anything coming out from the our Facebook page?
Yes, this one is coming from Ozo Francis, and he said, "Let's APC, PDP, and other political parties zone their presidential slots to the South for equity, fairness, and justice. There is need for balance in the scheme of things, and to eschew bitterness, rancor, and marginalization." Thanks and God bless you. Mr. Tony, good morning. God bless Invicta Radio. Kindly assist in checkmating all those shops demolished for renovations to let those occupiers benefit for the best result of the exercise. And this one is coming from Korede. And this one is coming from Amax Igbo. All is not well. Please take us back to 2015. We prefer our roads in 2015. where we can travel from Sokoto to Lagos without fear. Look at hunger. No business for the masses to do. We are tired, please. That's all.
Well, again, Mallam Ishack, I'll ask you to react to some of that.
Well, the gentleman who spoke about ensuring that occupiers of shops get, it's not going to happen. The way they arrange it is that they are handing over. Most of these markets that Kaduna State government is going around commissioning and even inviting President to come and commission were not built by Kaduna State money. It's private individuals who were given the contract to do that. They use their own money, so the shops belong to them, and they sell. So it goes to the highest bidder. An occupant does not give you that right of first refusal. You don't have that. If you have money, fine and good. If you don't have, too bad. Sorry for you. So that's the situation. And this last gentleman beautifully captured them. Let us get back to the bad roads upon which we could travel from here to Sokoto without fear. Now you have good roads and you cannot go to Kachia. From here to Abuja is Wahala. So what are we talking about? You can't go to the farm, you don't have a shop, it has been demolished, you are sacked from your teaching job, you don't have anything. Venture onto the street, Castelia arrest you. God help us.
Still with Kenya, you can squeeze one or two calls before we bring it to a close. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Toyin.
Good morning.
Kauranmattah, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Musa Bala.
Yes, Musa Bala.
I want to thank Kauranmattah for identifying the multiple problems in PDP, including unqualified people with questionable certificate and so on and so forth. You talk about road construction, you talk about market. Are you telling me that when you eventually get to office, you return our roads back to post 2015, or you demolish this market and return them to what they were before then? Can you please tell me, just two markets in any part of Kaduna State, that PDP transformed in 16 years, that will meet up with the challenges ahead? Just two, please, and tell me just two roads. You are telling me that education, did you know the number of schools this government are renovating? Go to all the senatorial districts. The southern Kaduna over renewal alone is the first of its kind in the history of northern Nigeria in southern Kaduna history. Are you telling me that you are going to return? I'm sure you enjoy Ali Watamaro as you are coming to that studio and other roads that must be in your destination. Are you telling me that you are going to return them back to post 2015? Thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you, Musa Bala. Yes, and
thank you, Mallam Musa. I wish we had enough time to discuss this issue. We are not going to return them to what they were before 2015. Once job has been done, it has been done. We are concerned about what it took you to do those roads. The number of people whose livelihood you have destroyed, the number of people you have sacked, the number of people who were earning a living that are no longer able to take care of their families today. And you're talking about renovating schools. It was the schools constructed by PDP, some of which your party is now renovating. They are not building any new ones. Instead of building new ones, you are sacking teachers and increasing school fees so that students cannot even go into the schools you are renovating. In terms of roads, maybe you have forgotten the core road. Consider the distance alone. The roads you have been doing are short roads that if you put them together, they may not be up to the core road from that has eased up the burden of people coming into Barna or going to the city in the mornings to work. I am from Zaria. I know the roads in Zaria before Makarfi came, and I know what he was able to do. And several other places in Ikara and so on, village roads that actually matter to the people. The farmers who can produce crops and cannot transport them to the market have had access roads that will help them to carry their goods to the market. That's what we are talking about, not city roads that you are constructing that is beneficial to people like you and me, but not beneficial to the masses. That's our concern and that's our worry.
Mallam Ishack Kauranmattah, I'd like to hear your last line, especially about the concerns for you on the PDP in Kaduna State.
The reality is I am calling on PDP leaders and the state stakeholders to please sit down and discuss this issue and allow a level playing ground in the forthcoming primary election. Please talk to the gentleman who has been calling delegates and party leaders to his sitting room and telling them the particular candidate they must go and vote for. Please call his attention that what he is doing is sending the wrong signals to the people. And it is affecting the chances, the beautiful chances we have of taking over power from these guys who have destroyed our state and have created so much division among our people. We have never been as divided as we are, as we have been in the last 7 years. Please, talk to this gentleman, let him stop whatever he is doing, let people freely, delegates go freely and openly elect whoever they elect. We will join hands together and ensure Munkuriwa.
Perspectives this morning, and with me in the studios this morning has been Mallam Ishack Kauranmattah, a PDP stalwart in the state and also a public affairs analyst. Mallam Ishack, we thank you once again for coming on.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. Well, my colleague Jeffrey Adiku, thank you for connecting us with the people. And Wisdom, we thank you for putting us in the pictures. We'll come back with perspective tomorrow. Have a good day.